Hey everyone, what's going on? Yesterday we got the death of Ray Liotta, who is an actor known for the movie Goodfellas, and also he plays Shoeless Joe Jackson in the movie Field of Dreams. That's what I know him a lot more from. But you just can't make this stuff up. So, the day that he dies, the Chicago Cubs lose to the Cincinnati Reds 20 to 5. And of course, this year the Field of Dreams game just so happens to be the Cubs versus the Reds. And the score 20 to 5 is interesting because of gematria. If you write out Shoeless Joe Jackson, he equals 205. And to further connect this, the team in the movie Field of Dreams was the Chicago White Sox, and it had to do with the 1919 Black Sox scandal where they supposedly rigged the World Series against the Cincinnati Reds, of all teams. And it had a lot to do with Shoeless Joe Jackson. And notice his birthday, 716, or also 16/7. And in gematria, if you write out just Joe Jackson, it equals 167, a lot like his birthday. And then if you look at the Chicago White Sox game yesterday, or the day that he died, the White Sox lost 7-16, like July 16th, or 16-7, like Joe Jackson, like July 16th. I mean, you just cannot make this stuff up. Not to mention, Boston, if you watch the movie Field of Dreams, Ray, the main character who's played by Kevin Costner, he takes Terrence Mann to the baseball game in Boston against the Oakland Athletics. And it's pretty interesting. This comes right after that Uvalde, Texas shooting that one of the guys from the Tampa Bay Rays was actually from that town, right? So we got Ray, the main character, then Ray Liotta, then a guy from the Tampa Bay Rays. If you go back to a whole bunch of my old posts about from last year of the Field of Dreams game, I talked a lot about the Los Angeles Angels, and arguably the most famous person from Uvalde, Texas, just so happens to be Matthew McConaughey, and Matthew McConaughey just so happens to be in the movie Angels in the Outfield, the movie that I have recently talked about, important to this narrative, so what are the odds? And further, just think about the movie Field of Dreams, right? All the dead baseball players. Think about Angels. It's there's an interesting narrative that's going on here with this. Further, if you go back and watch my couple previous videos, but if you look at the Los Angeles Angels the same day Ray Liotta died, they just so happened to play Toronto, and they lost 6-3, like how the word Ray equals 63. But it's interesting because all of this stuff has to do with the death of Tyler Skaggs, and, he was the Los Angeles Angels player that died just before playing the Texas Rangers, and notice Oakland played Texas yesterday. Of course, the movie Field of Dreams also came out in 1989, and then they had, he took Terrence Mann to the Boston Red Sox game against the Oakland Athletics, and then later that year, there was the Earthquake World Series that the Oakland Athletics beat the San Francisco Giants in, right? So the Oakland Athletics win the World Series the same year Field of Dreams comes out. They just so happened to play the Texas Rangers, the team that Tyler Skaggs, the Los Angeles Angel, died just before playing. But the Angels playing the Toronto Blue Jays really sticks out to me because if you go back to the death of Tyler Skaggs, I pointed out how the movie Angels in the Outfield, someone was on Wikipedia in 2019, and they changed the plot of the movie to say that in the very beginning of the movie, he goes to the game against the Angels against the Oakland Athletics. But really, if you watch the movie, it's the Toronto Blue Jays. And then they changed it back on Tyler Skaggs' birthday that year, right after he died. Also, earlier in 2019, I was blogging and talking about how there was something connected to earthquake symbolism with the Angel of Independence statue in Mexico City. And then right after Tyler Skaggs died, the Los Angeles Angels player, the City of Angels, on Independence Day, July 4th, there was a big earthquake in Los Angeles. I was following this pattern with the Angel of Independence statue, and it was linked up to earthquakes. And on Independence Day, in the City of Angels, there was a giant earthquake. Right after that one Disney guy died too. Think about Disney and Angels in the Outfield, and he died from having a seizure. Think about seizure and shaking and earthquakes. Think about the Oakland Athletics and how they won the Earthquake World Series. Also, in relation to Oakland, think about how the same day that Ray Liotta dies, we get the Golden State Warriors advancing to the NBA Finals, and they used to play in Oakland, right? And think about Kamala Harris, the vice president right now, who is also from Oakland. And if you go back and look at my posts here about this Texas shooting, and even before that, I was talking about Vice News showing up at the Tops Friendly Market memorial and all that, and how it was linked up to vice presidents. And then this Texas shooting, if you look up Uvalde, Texas, these are the people that it lists on Wikipedia who are notable people. It's not very many, but notice one of them was the 32nd vice president of the United States. And that's interesting, synced up to this narrative with angels and angels in the outfield, because if you write out the word angels, it equals 32. So angels 32, the 32nd vice president was from there. Kamala Harris is the vice president. She's from Oakland. A lot of this seems to point back to Oakland and the Oakland Athletics, who were the team who won the World Series right there at the same year as the Field of Dreams came out. Of course, the Golden State Warriors also beat the Dallas Mavericks. Think about Dallas, Texas, Texas Rangers, Dallas Mavericks. Whole bunch of interesting things here, but I'm just going to leave it here. Like I said, I wanted to make a real short video. I don't have time to go in depth because there's a whole lot more here with, like less than a month ago, I documented about the movie Goodfellas because I had a bunch of synchronicity with Dirty Dancing and this restaurant called Goodfellows. And what's interesting, if you go all the way back to all that, my old post about that in 2018, where I had this other synchronicity with Goodfellas in the movie Goodfellas, I talked all about bills, right? And it just makes me think of the Buffalo thing with the Buffalo Bills and how Buffalo Bills equal 117, and that the Tops Market shooting was 117 days before the Buffalo Bills opened the season up against Los Angeles, right? The Los Angeles Rams. So there's some interesting parallels here. And that's important because Field of Dreams equals 117. James Earl Jones is even born on January 17th, like 117. He's Terrence Mann in the movie Field of Dreams. And it's funny because that same synchronicity involved my friend Sam. And back right at the day before the Field of Dreams game last year, I made a blog post about how there was this dream theme and how it was synced up to the angels. Let me see here. Let me look at this post really quick. Yeah, and then this Oakland Athletics guy got hit in the face against the White Sox too. That was August. I blogged about it August 18th. I'll have to come back and look at some of these posts, but the one I wanted to show was, I had synchronicity with the word Constitution. But notice how I wrote angels and Field of Dreams here? So this narrative that I'm following is still ongoing, and think about that fair symbolism that was also linked to the Angels and Tyler Skaggs dying, and that's why the Washington Nationals won the World Series after Tyler Skaggs died, because the Washington Nationals used to be the Montreal Expos, and they're named after the World's Fair, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Slipknot playing at the Iowa State Fair. Think about Field of Dreams in Iowa. But just wanted to point out, I'm talking about there's an Angels theme. This is the blog post where I also talked about Joey Lawrence and whatever. And then just right after I had this recent synchronicity, Joey Lawrence was in the news for getting married. And it was all about the number 53, and then Joey Lawrence married a lady whose name equaled 53 at Gematria. But talked about the Cleveland Guardians too, who look at their logo now. The Cleveland Guardians, their logo, it looks like angels' wings, right? Let me see if I can even find it here. The Cleveland Indians or the Cleveland Guardians logo is literally a baseball with a G and like wings that look like angel wings. So you can't even make this stuff up. And I guess that's important because in 2016, I was following this Native American theme all year. And then we got the death of the guy, W.P. Kinsella, who wrote the book Shoeless Joe that the movie Field of Dreams is based off of. And then right around the time of the World Series, we got the death of James Earl Jones's wife. And we also had the Dakota Access Pipeline stories of the news where the Indians are in the World Series. So definitely something interesting, you know. We even talked about Joseph Gordon-Levitt, the who's in the movie Angels in the Outfield, Oakland, the same narrative. So I'll have to study it a little bit more, but what did I read at the very bottom of there with 117? Trevor Bauer born on that. James Earl Jones. Last year was the 117th World Series when we had the first Field of Dreams game. Field of Dreams 117. Dodgers equal 117. But yeah, just leave it there. It's just unbelievable how synced up it is to Field of Dreams, the Black Sox scandal, and some other things. If I get time, I'll make a longer, in-depth video, but trying to just keep it short and simple for right now. I got my kids screaming and all that, so have a good one. Peace. Actually, just one last thought. So the Field of Dreams game last year was on August 12th, and that just so happens to be the day of the MLB strike that happened in 1994, right after the movie Angels in the Outfield came out, where the Montreal Expos had the best record in the MLB. So that is interesting that the Field of Dreams game was on that day as well. So definitely, yeah, that's definitely important. August 12th, the day of the MLB strike. Remember how they delayed the season this year, too? So maybe there's something important to that strike. You know, we think about baseball and strike and so on, too. So I'll keep looking. But once again, see you later.